He's mad. He's mad at me. Him and this one guy have been out making these podcasts where they trash me, and they have all this fun every week. Yeah.
Hello, this is John.
Hey, John, what's going on? It's Jiggy Jag in Israel. How are you?
Jiggy, how you guys doing?
Pretty good, actually.
Excellent.
Now, you are fantastic, by the way. We got
thank you so much.
We got some of your music the other day, and I was listening to it, and I was like, we got to get you on the show. So
thank you so much.
It was my idea. All the kudos and stuff are true, but it was just.
I'm giving you both a big thank you.
You're welcome.
There you go.
I'll take credit for that.
I'll take credit for that. And we have got John David Schrader with us today here in our broadcast. He's a singer-songwriter, producer, multi-instrumentalist, which means he can play a whole bunch of instruments. I can't play any.
Skin flute.
I can't even. Well, I can't. I can play that, and I can play the recorder, but nobody wants to hear me do the recorder.
Well, that's the funny thing, because people always ask me when they listen to the record, they're like, "Hey, listen, the band sounds great." And I tell them that there's no band, that I did everything that's on the CD, and they're like, "Whoa!" So that's always kind of cool.
I wish I was that talented.
That's right.
I play all the instruments when I make beats on the keyboard.
I make beats on the keyboard. Now, you're out here making music and doing all sorts of fun stuff. You're from Kingston, New York, I understand?
Yeah, lived all over. Born in Kingston, New York. Lived in New York City, Boston, all over
Boston.
the place.
I love that accent. Boston. I was in Boston at one point.
That's the New York thing.
There you go.
Yeah, because I like Boston too. Just like finished on Netflix like the whole 10, 11 seasons of Cheers. It was great.
Hey, there you go.
Now, what got you into the music business?
Oh, geez. If I had to bring it back to one, pinpoint it to one instance, I was a little kid. And I was out in the front yard here in New York playing water pistols with a bunch of guys from the neighborhood, kids from the neighborhood. And my mom had come out the front door, and she says, "Hey, come on in the house." They used to call me Book when I was a kid. She'd say, "Book, come on in the house. I want you to hear somebody on television." And I didn't want to go in because we're having fun of the summer evening playing water pistols. But
we play real pistols.
I finally relented. Finally relented, and I went in the house, and it was my first time that I ever saw Elvis, and I was just kind of like mesmerized by the whole thing. And I just remember from being a little kid, I'm like, I want to be that guy. I want to be Elvis. And then from there, it just kind of everything just kind of grew from that one seed. And I've gone in so many different musical directions and played some different kinds of music, and I still score orchestral music for film and television, and that kind of thing.
What's funny is me and Israel were talking about making a movie earlier, and he was like, making music is a hell of a lot different than scoring music for a movie.
Yes, it is.
That's cool that you brought that up.
Yeah,
it's different. It's difficult. It depends on what kind of project you get. If they're giving you dailies to look at, if it's got time code, and depending on where they want the cues and yada yada yada.
You say just like, it's just, basic scoring movies, nothing big.
Yeah, it's like everyday thing.
I put the time in. I went to one of my degrees is in music performance and production, and I've got another degree in film production and audio production, post-production, all that kind of stuff.
So
I
you do
put the
mixing and
time
mastering?
in.
You do like mixing and mastering and stuff, or?
The mastering's kind of a pain in the ass. I try to avoid mastering, but yeah, all the new in fact, all 4 CDs I recorded here at my studio, and I mixed them all and engineered them. Yeah.
Do you do it for any other artists?
At this point, not. Well, in other studios, yes, but not in mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How would you describe your music?
Oh gosh. What I love to tell people is if I could describe it with my words, I wouldn't have to record it with instruments. But if I have to give it like, because I know the industry loves to hear who you sound like, and I've never really tried to sound like anybody.
I hate
so
that,
I tell them,
yeah.
I tell them if Springsteen met the Beatles with like a shot of steroids, if that makes any sense.
Wow, that's a hell of a deal.
Right.
That's a hell of a mix.
That gives you an idea.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so.
So, what? Tell us about your latest project.
Well, the latest one is 21 Summers. It took me about 2 years to make, believe it or not, because again, when you're doing everything yourself, I did the writing, and then once the writing's done, you do the arranging, and then you're doing the recording, and all the instruments, and the vocals, and the engineering, and then the mixing, blah, blah, blah. So all of that, plus the package design and all that, took about 2.5 years.
So you designed your
Son
own...
of a bitch.
You designed, like, you did your own graphic design?
Say that again?
You did your own graphic design?
Yeah, correct, yeah. Actually, the picture that's on the front cover I actually took myself. All it really is a selfie. Everyone thinks it's a studio shot. It isn't. It was just a selfie.
Yeah, my selfies got me kicked out of my parent-teacher meeting. We don't have to talk about that, though.
Don't talk about that.
Don't put them on a record cover.
That's right. That's
Well,
right.
I just want it to be a sex symbol. No one understands me.
Nobody understands you. We've got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on the broadcast, talking. Britannia just got done talking to Mr. Bob Hunter on the phone. Any update on the card? Did he have a card?
He doesn't know he's gonna look.
He's gonna look. Okay, look, Israel. He's gonna look for you.
About time.
We're trying to get Israel a what is it? A CF card? Is that what it's called?
I want to take pictures of midgets and sell them for charity.
He'll sell for charity. He's a gentle giant.
There you go.
So
Go ahead, Israel.
So I love New York, the city of New York. I've never been, pretty much anywhere else. How far are you from the city?
Right now, just a train ride out, maybe about an hour and a half. But I lived in New York City for 8 or 9 years, just about. It's a great city. You gotta have the skin for it.
I loved it. I'm from Kansas, and everything here is like freaking slow as hell, and everything there is like super fast paced. And we're in this pizza place. It's like, come on, you want pizza? I got pizza. What pizza you want? It's only 5-6 pizzas today. I got a whole line of people, and I look.
Oh yeah, it's very fast. People, and that's where I think New York gets its reputation of being like where people aren't very friendly. But it's like if you've ever been to New York City, there's 8 million people on one sidewalk, and if you go down the sidewalk trying to say hi to everybody, they're going to think you're a lunatic.
Yeah, you know what?
They're gonna think you're a lunatic.
The crazy thing is that I realized that about New York, but in the same sense though, everybody was so nice to me. Like
it has a bad reputation. Here's what I tell people: look, there's assholes everywhere.
Yeah,
there's no question about it. We got them in New York, as I'm sure they got them in Tennessee.
We got
Texas,
one in our state capital. That's a whole.
Our governor is not well liked in Kansas.
What do you mean?
And now, where are you guys right now? You guys are in Kansas? Is that where it is?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. It's the first time I think I've ever been interviewed in Kansas, so this is the first for me.
Yeah, and and when I was we were in Brooklyn, so when I'm walking around, I want to sightsee. I was probably in danger, but yeah, whatever. So the guys like, yo, where you from? I'm like, I'm from Kansas. Kansas, son? I'm like, yeah, Kansas. Wow. There's black people out there in Kansas? I'm like, yeah, there's a few of us. Yo, you ever met Dorothy? I'm like, it's a movie. Like,
it's a movie.
There's no yellow brick road. We don't even have a yellow street. So yeah, we don't have good roads, period. But I love the atmosphere, man. Do you think it's an advantage being there where like all the record labels are and all the magazines or whatever? Has that been good for your career or?
I think it's a double-edged sword. Because actually, out of everything I've done in New York, I hooked up with the executive producer, David Mobley, and he's out of Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
And so him and I went back and forth, with mixes on the CD. I think sometimes the denser the city and the denser the population, sometimes it's really hard for cream to rise to the top because there's just a glut of I mean, in New York City, you can go down to the Village, and you can go from one club to the next club to the next club on say, McDougal Street or anything like that, and you're going to hear amazing musicians. Boom, boom, boom. It's almost like everybody's so damn good that they kind of just start to blend in together. So sometimes those atmospheres kind of make it difficult to rise, but at the same time, it's great to have all those options with, newspapers, magazines, and so on and so forth. But I've got to say, I've probably done more. I've probably done better outside of New York than inside New York. I've done well in New York, but most of my radio airplay has been, across the U.S. and overseas. It's not all in just in New York, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. I mean, the last artist, Jimmy Parker, we just talked to, he's in Nashville. He just said the same thing, and yeah, it's true. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird how it works. It's like, why wouldn't the place that you're actually at, be the place that would support you? It would be a lot easier like that. But
right, we talk about this all the time. I talk about it with, I've gotten lucky here in New York with I have friends who have radio shows, and they've always got me on, like the Electric Radio Show, and they're internet based, and WDST here in Woodstock, New York, and I've done pretty good. But as far as like like you said, newspapers, clubs, and stuff like that, it's like if you're local, it's almost like they don't want to really touch you. They'd rather have people from outside come in, and same thing with outside areas.
Yeah,
which I don't understand, but I've done pretty good so far.
Yeah, that's true, man. And like I've been to do shows in different places, and even when I was in New York, the response that I got was so amazing compared to being here in Kansas. My initial thought was like, yo, this is the Big Apple, like it's going to be like the toughest critics ever, and it just kind of wasn't like that. At first, I think I surprised them because I'm a rapper. They're like, oh, you a rapper from Kansas? Like, what's he going to rap about? Tumbleweeds and Mennonite housing? I don't know. But
that is awesome.
Yeah, there's good stuff everywhere you look, I guess.
Yeah, and then after, they actually hear me rap, they're like, oh, wow, this guy's amazing. I think it's actually been it's been a benefit for me, not a hindrance.
Yeah.
It's like, first it's like, oh, well,
I think maybe in local areas, I think in your local area versus my local area, I think all local areas are the same. I think people kind of get to the point where they're almost tired of hearing your name, and I think that's what happens at times, and those times you just kind of lay back a little bit, and that's what I did with making this new record. I took 2 years off of the road and, got this record, and I think that helped to build some excitement, and so the record got released, and I've been getting some unbelievable feedback, and now it's up in the running for a Grammy in 2 categories.
Oh, wow.
Getting great feedback from members, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, whenever people get tired of hearing me, I pay their girlfriends to get tattoos of my website on their arm. That way they never forget me.
You're always with them.
Yeah, you should try it. But hey,
I'll give it a shot.
I may not be your favorite artist.
Give it a shot.
I may not be your favorite artist, but I'm your old ladies.
I have to run that one past my wife first.
Well, she'll understand because if it's
publicity.
making you more money
That's
and
right.
she can shop more, you're in there.
Boom.
It's all about how
we're
you
making
spend
we're making a marketing connection today here on the radio.
it. Man,
It's all about marketing.
That's right.
The one thing that I really do respect, man, because like I'm an artist by nature. I'm not an engineer. I don't even play any live instruments, but I know that like music can't compare to like having a live instrument. Nothing compares.
Right.
Just to have like that range of expression that that you get from a live instrument. And then like with you engineering your whole project too, the beautiful thing is, man, I know you're making the greatest music that you can make because it's your full expression. However you hear it in your mind, in the beginning, you can translate that better than you could ever explain it to somebody else, And, man,
very well said. Very well said. I talk about that a lot when people ask me why I do this. And it started out as necessity.
Exactly.
But it got to the point where if I'm writing a song about my father dying when I was 9, like that's why I don't write with other people either, because it doesn't make sense. How am I going to bring somebody else in on something that's that personal to me that they don't really know about? So, then once the writing is done, then I figured, well, let me just take it all away. And, once you do from A to Z, it's all you. That really is a personal project.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I understand the necessity factor. Like, I only got a studio because it was cost effective, So,
right, exactly.
But in turn, it allowed me to be more expressive because I didn't have to wait till my studio session.
Right.
I could just go whenever I was ready, and then
and you're not staring at the clock either, thinking, "Jesus, my money is just tick, 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 ticking away."
That's right.
Yeah, while you got this creep who thinks he's the world's smartest and he's doing something new and he's dragging his feet. Oh, this wire isn't working, or come on, man, I'd have hit you with a wine bottle, but
I hit you with a wine bottle. That is
I now
awesome.
gave my life to Jesus, so no more wine bottles. So
there you go.
But so man, when I started like out of necessity, tired of paying producers, man, I spent a couple $100 getting different production done, only to hear that this producer had sold that same track to someone else. So I wanted to hit him with a wine bottle, but
right,
I just decided that rather than hit him with the wine bottle, I'll just make my own music. And it took my music to a whole different level because I could express,
awesome.
What I want.
I think Brooklyn wore off on you. You want to hit him with a wine bottle now?
See, that's what I'm thinking.
Sometimes people just need to be hit with wine bottles.
Sometimes people just need to be hit with wine.
Actually, I didn't hit him, man. I just made him head at the bottle. It's different.
There you go.
It's different. It is completely different.
Yeah. So when I came out there, man, I made a lot of great connections. I actually met my manager, who's from there. He's actually in New Jersey, but with Capital Star Management, so we got some good things coming in. And I love the whole music scene out there, man. It was beautiful. Like, for people who are from that area, it's just kind of what it is. You know what I mean? But when you're not from that area, you get to like suck in the whole nostalgic vibe of it all. Like, man, it was beautiful. Like, man, the food trucks on every corner, like everybody's selling gyros, and you're in downtown Manhattan, and they're charging you $80 for a bottle of water, but it's New York.
Exactly. You spend enough time in New York and even New Jersey. There's something about New York and New Jersey, like especially the Jersey Shore. Not because of that god awful TV show, but before that shit came on. The Jersey Shore Jersey is great for rock music, and New York City is so eclectic. It's got so many different types of music, and I think what happens is there's something about those two geographies that kind of get into your skin, they get into your blood, and it's a different kind of vibe that they give off. Like Springsteen from Jersey, Tom Waits, Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes, and it has this kind of organic feel to them. And then you take that into New York City, and then it takes that organic feel, and it turns it into a zillion-piece puzzle because there's so many influences there. So, there's a lot going on in this Northeast area that actually helps shape who you are musically.
Yeah, one of the other things, and I see that necessity drives a lot of artists. You know what I mean? Like, growing up in Wichita, Kansas, man, like, we're the largest city in Kansas and whatnot, but, man, we don't have any record labels or A&Rs or, anything even close to that. So you learn to, out of necessity, you learn how to do things on your own, you know what I mean, as much as possible.
Yeah.
And it pays off. Like, when you talk about songwriting or, even when you're producing your own stuff, like, say you go platinum next month, man, that's all your money. You don't have to pay all these other writers and producers and
Sure. And people have this preconceived notion that you either have to be in LA or you have to be in New York, and just to the technology today, it's not necessarily the truth, because otherwise everybody who's successful in music and film and what have you came from either New York or LA, and it's just not the truth. Right. It's not the case. And there's so many places that have great music scenes. You got Austin, and you've got Nashville, and all over the place there's great scenes.
Yeah, Austin, Texas.
Oh yeah, Austin is fantastic.
Yeah, it is pretty cool down there, man. And but you're right. It doesn't hurt. It definitely doesn't hurt to be in those areas, though.
It doesn't hurt. Yeah, and we get great accents as well.
Yeah, because like that's the other thing. Because like all the women out there were like, "Yo, where are you from?" A lot of Spanish women, I love it, and they're like, "Well, where are you from? You sound like you're from the country. Are you from the South? Are you from Alabama?" I'm like, "I'm from Kansas." "Oh, I love your accent." I'm like, "I didn't know I had one, but."
Well, I never knew I had a New York accent until I married my wife, who's from Texas and Oklahoma, West Virginia, traveled around, but she's a Southern girl. I had no idea, that I said dog the way I say dog. She's like, "Oh yeah, dog."
Yeah, I can hear it. And they're like, "Yo, you got to catch the train downtown," and you're like, "What? What are you talking about?" Yeah, man, I had a blast. And
good.
Yeah, just the whole vibe of it all, man. And so I know you're loving it out there, man. And
Yeah, New York's great. It's expensive as hell. The problem is everything keeps going up. The only thing I've ever seen go down in my whole life in New York is the price of a Subway $5 foot long. That's the only thing I ever saw go down.
That is awesome.
yeah, I don't know. It was quite the interesting experience. I'll say that. And
I think everybody should experience it once. It's the same thing with LA. If you get a chance, you got to experience LA, California. You got to experience New York. I think it's really important to experience something big, like say Nashville or Austin in the South. There's a lot of cool places. There's just no question about it.
Yeah, definitely. So, are you touring? What other artists?
Right now, I'm going to be looking for new guys for the band. I got to replace 3 guys. So I'll be doing that very shortly. It's just the fact that this record got finished, and then I was thrust into the marketing of it, and now with the Grammys, thrust into that end of it, and so it's kind of. I feel like I'm constantly burning the candle at both ends. But yes, I'm. 2 years is the longest I've ever not been on stage, and it's burning me from the inside out. So I got to find some new guys to get my ass back on stage.
Yeah, that's how I feel like when I haven't been in the studio a while. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
kind of that. It's kind of that itch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's in your blood.
Oh, we're being invaded. Skeeter Rock's in the building.
So where can people find you on like social networking and different things like that?
Yeah, I'm all over the place. But if you just mainly got my hub, if you just went to johnschrader.com, then there's a page there that takes you to all the different social media that I have. Like there's links to iTunes for downloading for the new CD, to Facebook pages and all this kind of stuff.
What about music videos?
No music videos. They're just too damn expensive. And the guys who do them will think, "Oh, hey, you know what? We can do it with our iPhones and it'll turn out good." I'm like, "No, it doesn't turn out good. It looks like shit." So I'd rather just,
That's awesome. No, it doesn't. It looks like shit.
Well, it depends. I mean, there's some inventive things that I've seen people do with like iPads or whatever, but it was also people who had like a lot of technical skill in the first place. You know
exactly,
what I mean?
right. They
So,
they have a degree in film and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, I have a YouTube channel for John Schrader Band. It's got some live stuff there, but nothing really polished or produced or anything like that. I was just more interested in getting my butt on stage and playing music and putting records out for people.
What I would suggest though, man, is like there was a young lady that I met when I was out in New York. God bless her soul. And she shoots music videos. She shot some music video for some prominent artists, which was pretty cool. And she's like, "Yo, I'm shooting this video for this artist. He's going to be shooting this video over 2 or 3 days. If you fly out here to New York and you pay me $5,000, you can use the same equipment that he has in between him shooting." And I'm like, $5,000? Like, I'm not gonna say anything, but for that price, man, there's great videographers. I know one personally shot some videos for me that you can fly here for cheaper or fly to a smaller city with the independent artists and pay less than half of that. You know what I mean? And get
you're not going to find $5,000 blowing around in a parking lot. That's for sure.
Right. And one thing, I hear a lot of people, that artistically kind of down hip hop, But really, when it comes to business wise, a lot of times hip hop sets the trends on how the independent game is run, because we do things like that, because we find the next hottest producer or the next hottest videographer or whatever reason, where other people aren't able to do that. So,
well, hip hop, the guys in hip hop, really, like you said, that's where the independent spirit, I think, really actually started to grow. Especially like when, I mean, hip hop started, you know, I know there's the West Coast, East Coast battle, but the real stuff that I know started in the Bronx, in, you know, the mid 70s.
Right.
And these guys they were like plugging turntables into, they'd go to abandoned buildings and use outlets from street lamps and all this kind of stuff. They'd run it from the street lamps.
Skeeter Rock knows about those turntables.
Yeah, and man, that's that ingenuity that's allowed a lot of people, man, that aren't really even that known right now. To make a lot of money though. You know what I mean?
Right, because if you don't have the money when you start, you got to find creative ways to do something, especially if people in the industry don't want to touch it. You just got to think, all right, the heck with that, and I'll do it on my own.
The necessity to get things done, man, like money a lot of times will make you lazy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It makes, but when you have that ingenuity to get things done, then it kind of sets you apart. Like one of the things that I did was I went to Wichita State University. If you've been keeping up with college basketball, you know, over the last couple of years, our team's been pretty much the shit. So, and we kill for. So, shout out to those guys. Being an alumni, I did. There's been a few people who did, like, you know, anthems for the university. Well, I did an all sports anthem, one to set myself apart. Plus, I donated money back to the university per God or whatever. So, man, that helped a lot. You know what I mean? And it did for you know, kind of building up my name and what it is that I do.
Yeah.
But it was just ingenuity. You know what I mean? Take the time to work the whatever else. But
nice. I'm still waiting for money to now. If I find $2 in my pants after the wash, I'm almost free-eyed. I'm so happy.
Yeah, man, you in New York.
That's funny.
When we were down there, we did a showcase for some record labels at P Diddy studio, and you know, if you see Diddy, you tell him shame on him, because you know he didn't have any drinking fountains in the building, so we had to go downstairs.
Damn him.
Yeah, we had to go downstairs and next door to a bar and buy like bottled water that was like $5 a bottle. So, but anyway, yeah. So when you spend money down there, you find $2. You're grateful for it, man. Yeah. Like cigars. Not that I smoke marijuana, but if I did, cigars would have been like $5 a pack there. And I'm like,
I'll go crazy for that.
I'm like, that's
It'll
in
make
America.
Me stop.
I'm sure Jesus is not happy about you charging that much for Swisher Sweets. How do I get to my creative level? What if I don't have $5? A whole different story, though, man.
Whole different story.
Hey, man, it's been a blast having you. So, what song are we listening to?
We are going to play Lullaby here in a few moments. Tell me about this track, man.
The track came from exhaustion, basically. It's basically kind of a song about what we're basically just talking about is constantly you're out, you're pounding the pavement, you're trying to get things done, and before you know it, you're a million miles away from home, and you're just so tired that you just want to go home.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of musicians, you get to that point where you're just like, man, I just want to go home.
Yeah,
and that's basically where that came from, just exhaustion.
I feel like that sometimes when I'm in the studio and I hear these guys come in and it's like the fourth artist has used auto-tune on a song, and I'm like, man, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, oh my God, auto-tune, jeez.
Yeah.
No. Okay, well, we're going to do this. We're going to play Lullaby. Thanks for being with us, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's been a blast.
Thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate being on. Hello to everyone in Kansas.
Hello back from Kansas.
That, of course, our guest, Mr. Schrader, and here's Lullaby. We're going to take a break. Bob Hunter has just appeared out of nowhere. He's like
Bob Hunter.
The great Bob Hunter.
You better put the great in there.
As seen on TV, Bob Hunter.
You better put the great in there.